All right. Hey everyone, good morning. Sorry I'm a little late. Just working on some technical studio difficulties this morning, so apologize for the delay, but we are here and ready to go. I might have to tweak a couple more things and get my positioning all dialed in, but I think we're looking pretty good. So yeah, I'm all set to give you guys a demo on a mushroom pendant. So that's one of the very first projects that most glass blowers learn how to make, or flame workers, and it's kind of a fun one. It's three-dimensional, it incorporates a few different techniques, so I'm going to go over that. Just a couple updates. We did get our GoFundMe campaign going, and we've raised almost half of our goal already, which is awesome, so thank you to everyone who's donated. For those of you who don't know, GoFundMe is doing a small business campaign, and basically they'll match up to $500 if we raise $500. So that's what we set our goal at, and if we raise more than that, awesome, thank you so much, but we just figured we would take any opportunity we can get for funding that's available. So yeah, we've got a GoFundMe campaign. You should be able to see it probably on our Facebook, or just search GoFundMe for Lake Superior Art Glass. So that's on there if you want to donate $5, $10, whatever, for watching these live streams. We certainly appreciate it, and then it gets matched 1 for 1. So that's huge. So thank you for everyone who's been placing more online orders. We've had a bunch more come in, keeping us busy shipping stuff, so we really appreciate that. Just a reminder of all the different promotions we're doing. The weekly sale for Earth Day, we're doing buy 4, get 1 free straw. We've got our clearance selection on the website, which has tons of deeply discounted items that are awesome pieces of work, just not, either had them too long or just not up to our perfectionist standards. The local image pendant fundraiser. So the local image pendants that I make, like Superior, Minnesota, Sisu, Loons, Michigan, Wisconsin, all those are considered local images, and every one of those that's purchased in the month of April will donate $5 to the Artist Relief Fund in Minnesota to give back to other artists. And then we have our Design Your Own Pendant. So if you've got an idea for a custom pendant, hop onto our website, lakesuperiorartglass.com, and fill out the form on there, and let us know what you're thinking, and if it's something we can do, we'll gladly work with you and do it on our live stream, sometime in the next week or so. So yeah, that's everything we got going on. Don't forget on our website too, we do have our swag. This is an old staff shirt. You won't find this one there, but we've got way cooler stuff on the website as well. So if you want any apparel, Lake Superior Art Glass apparel, head over there. I don't think our mushroom pendants are available online. Again, there's just so many variations we can do with them, and they're really hard to get consistent. So those are not offered on there, but if you're interested in one after you see this demo, definitely shoot us a message on Facebook or contact us through our website, and we'll show you what we have available, or take a custom order too. So that's the deal there. All right, let me grab a stringer here, or maybe I'll pull a stringer, just show you guys what that looks like. I can't remember if I've shown everyone how to pull a stringer in the demos before or not. So I figure this is just as good a time as any to show that. Let's get the white balance adjusted here. There we go. Oh, what color should we use? We use this butterscotch. I like to use reactive colors in mushroom pendants, just because you get a variety of colors from them. So butterscotch starts out as this kind of tan color, or taupe, and then it gets more caramely looking as it gets hot. And you can get purples and tans and light blues, and a pretty good amount of different colors from this, because it reacts to the atmosphere of the flame, whether it's reducing, where there's a bunch more propane in the flame, or whether it's oxidizing. You'll get different results from this color. So we'll start out by pulling a stringer. I'm going to keep my flame pretty oxidizing so that I don't get this color to strike out right now. If you melt a reactive color in a reduction flame, especially if you're pulling a stringer, it's really hard to unreduce it after that, because you have to get it so hot to unreduce it that you won't really have a stringer left over. So, got another piece of clear glass I'm going to use as a handle to pull a stringer. So I will attach that to the end of the rod. And since I'm just doing, you know, one or maybe two of these pendants, I don't really want to pull a super long stringer. But when you pull stringers, you generally want to heat up about 2 inches worth of your rod and get it really, really hot, especially on these reactive colors so you can unstrike them. You want to watch that haze that builds up on the surface disappear before you pull it. So get everything super, super hot. Get it as evenly heated as you can. Come out of the flame and let it cool and just slowly pull apart. You can always blow on something to cool it faster if it's getting too thin, like the middle, and then pull harder as it starts to solidify. And that's how you create nice, even thickness stringers. This one's not the best example because I kind of gathered it up to unstrike it. It's just not quite how I would normally pull a stringer. You know, I was trying to go smaller than what I would normally do, but you get the idea. So stringer pulling to get consistent stringers should be done in one pull. Sometimes people will just keep it in the flame and just keep pulling out of the flame. You can do it that way. You know, once you get good, you can make that work, absolutely. But for starting out and just getting, you know, smaller amounts of nice consistent stringers, get about 2 inches of the rod hot, super, super hot, lift it out, just slowly pull apart, keep your spin going, and then pull harder towards the ends to get the thicker parts pulled out as well. So we've got our stringer. This is about 2 millimeters, I would say. Maybe 2.5. Yeah, probably about 2. And then we'll get our clear glass. I'm going to use a 10 millimeter rod. We'll start by getting just the tip of it hot. We're going to get it molten hot this time. We're going to keep our stringer kind of in the back of the flame, just to make sure it stays warm. You also want to make sure your stringer is melted on the tip, but not gathered. You want to make sure it's nice and straight. So that's what I was doing there. Just heating it up barely to the point where it'll move, spinning it in my L marver to kind of straighten out the tip of that stringer. All right, the tip of my stringer has just a little bit of a glow. That's plenty of heat. So I'm just keeping it near the flame, but not getting it crazy hot. Got a nice gather on my 10 millimeter rod, about the diameter of a dime. And then we're going to plunge this stringer into that. I'm going to take off my face shield so that I can maybe get a little closer to the camera when I do it, so you guys can watch what's happening. It's pretty cool. It's also important or helpful to get a heat gradient in your gather. So once you form your gather, you can let it cool for a couple of seconds, then go back and reheat just the tip. That's going to help create your heat gradient. All right, so here we go. Now it's glowing too hot for you guys to see, but I've plunged that stringer into the gather, and when it hits the part of the rod that's not gathered over hot, that color will start to mushroom cap over. Really important in order to get a symmetrical mushroom that you keep your rod centered. So I don't do full rotations when I'm plunging, but I go back and forth to help keep center. It's really hard to apply, you know, some substantial inward pressure and spin at the same time. So that's when I start going back and forth to keep it on center and keep the pressure there. So now I'm melting everything out. I disconnected that stringer a couple seconds ago. I'm really trying hard to work the air out. So when that stringer goes in, it creates a big cavity next to it on the bottom. And so melting everything out at a nice level angle or even slightly upward is going to help that air come out versus getting stuck in the glass as a bubble. So as it cools, you'll be able to start seeing that mushroom on the inside. There we go. You see that? So pretty crazy. I know it's harder for you guys to see because when it's glowing hot, you can't see in the glass like I can. But that's essentially how you make a mushroom pendant. I'll maybe go grab a sample of one as well so you guys can see a little better example in the video when it's not hot. And then from here on out, we'll stick a punty on the bottom and put a loop on the top. So I switched hands there. I always make my loops with my dominant hand. I'm right-handed, so I always make my loops with the right hand. Really important in glass blowing to create consistent patterns in your work and regiments. So once you figure out the best practice, be sure to do it that way every time. It's all about eliminating variables. There's a little mushroom pendant. I think after beads and icicles, this was the next thing that I learned how to make in my apprenticeship about 16 or 17 years ago. Just giving the bottom a flame polish, being sure not to keep my tweezers in the flame. Just passing through momentarily. One last look. So there's our mushroom pendant. It's going to go into the kiln to cool slowly. And I'm going to go grab a sample one to show you guys a cold one so you can look at it a little better, and then I'll do one more. You can see the diameter of the stringer is the stalk of the mushroom, and then when it hits that cold point in the hot glass and you continue pushing, that stringer has to go somewhere, and so it mushrooms over and creates that little cap on there. All right, let's do one more here. So one thing I really want to mention when you're making a mushroom pendant is to be super careful. So my very first apprentice and good friend Ben Nelson, he had this happen, and it was a great lesson in why you shouldn't force hot glass, or glass that's not hot enough in his case, and just to be cautious and mindful of that. So what happened is, rather than having the full diameter rod with the stringer on the end, Ben had just a solid stringer that he was holding in his fingers, and it's a lot harder to get a grip on something that tiny. And so as he was pushing it in and squeezing so hard, it snapped off at some point. I don't know if it was right at the glass or maybe more so in his hands, I think. And because you hold it with your thumb on the backside kind of parallel to the rod like that, his hand kept going and he jammed a massive stringer into his thumb. It was really, really gnarly. So yeah, I always recommend plunging your stringers in on a bigger handle. It's easier to hold, that you won't snap in your hand. And you know, keeping things on center, keeping that rock back and forth going as you're plunging is super important. And just don't force it. You know, when that glass stops mushrooming over and you're not feeling like it's going any further, stop pushing. You know, that's You can maybe get a little bit more once you get comfortable with it, but that's your indicator that that glass is pretty cool now and you shouldn't force it. Forcing not hot enough glass is a really big rookie mistake that you'll probably continue to make in your glass career every time you take on a new challenge of a product. So just because you get it out of the way on mushroom pendants and you learn it there, doesn't mean you're not going to do it in 5 years on a much more complex piece. I certainly have learned that lesson over and over and over again. Not hot enough glass does not like to be forced. All right, we'll do another one here. I got my gather all set up. Got a nice heat gradient to it, so it's hottest at the tip. Got my stringer set up, just a little bit of heat in that tip. And then we'll plunge it in. Rocking back and forth to keep things on center. There we go. And melt off that stringer as close to the base as we can. Try to show you guys what it looks like at this point. So you can kind of see the stalk of the mushroom in there and kind of the cap, but not super defined yet. So we're going to melt it out. Try to get all that air in there out. There's a big air cavity around the stem of the mushroom right now. Oh, stop, Auntie Dainty. You're going to make me blush. For those of you who don't know, Auntie Dainty is my Aunt Kathy, and she's been my biggest fan and supporter since day one, and has strung up and boxed many of the pendants that I've made over the years, probably, I don't know, 80% of them, I bet. And she's also stickered pretty much every single gift box that you've ever gotten something from Lake Superior Art Glass, or little gift boxes with their logo on top. She's put all the stickers on those, and she used to put stickers on all of our bags too. She cuts all the cords for our necklaces, and just does a ton of stuff like that to help out. So if you see her, give her a big thank you. She also owns the largest collection of all my pendants. She's got over 100 pendants, which is really cool to see all the ideas I've come up with over the years that get forgotten about. So we got it all melted in. As it cools, you'll see it showing up there. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I did trap one little bubble by the stem. That happens. Right there, you might be able to see that little round bubble on the stem. All right, we'll put our puntee on there and make the loop. If you ever want a pointier mushroom cap, you can also get heat closer to the top of your mushroom at this stage. And when you stretch out the material for your loop, you'll stretch the top of that mushroom and give it a little bit more of a point to the cap. See that little mushroom in there? Trying to always figure out the best spot to show it to you guys where it shows up the best. Here we go. Okay. Grab it with the tweezers and break it off. The puntee should release very, very easily. Just like that. A little tap. The bubble will force the glass to crack. So Avis is asking if the bubble will force the glass to crack when it's cooling, and the answer is that it shouldn't. So a bubble in glass can be considered a flaw, but you can also put bubbles in glass intentionally as part of your design. It all depends on the circumstances. So this bubble is really tiny, and it's also totally rounded out. So that's one of the biggest things about bubbles, is that you want them to be round if they're going to be in the glass. It's a very stressful, it can be a stressful thing to the glass. So if you ever have a bubble that's long and pointed, those are the ones that can lead to cracks. Now if you cool the glass properly and there's not stress in it from other reasons, you can include not round bubbles as well. So it is super situational. But if it's done right, including a bubble in the glass is usually not too big of a deal. It all just depends on how much stress there is with the glass and the colors you're using, how you made it, how the heat gradient is. That's part of the reason I'm keeping this warm as I'm talking. I'm done with it, but I don't want to just sit here and let it cool so that it's too cold when it goes into the kiln. Yeah, bubbles are definitely a potential design feature in a lot of different items, like my sea anemone pendants. Those all have bubbles on the very tips of each tentacle. Those are all intentional. All right, that's awesome, Emily. Ingrid's enjoying her virtual art class. I heard Ingrid got to see baby cedar a couple days ago, so that's super cool. Sorry I missed you guys, but you get to see me now. All right, I'll give you guys one last glimpse at this. And that is how you get a mushroom in the inside of a pendant. So I'll put that in the kiln, and we'll do a little recap. All right, so
I don't know if
I'm on. So yeah, that's how you make a mushroom inside a glass. We appreciate you guys watching, tuning in, continuing to support us. I just found out that we hit our GoFundMe goal already of $500, so thank you guys so much. If you're enjoying these demos and you're not looking to purchase any items right now, definitely consider throwing $5 or $10 our way. We certainly appreciate it, and helps keep the lights on and the rent paid and all that good stuff. So thank you guys so much for that support. We really appreciate that. We just launched our GoFundMe like yesterday evening, and so the fact that we already hit our goal is incredible. So thank you guys. Don't forget the weekly sales. Straws are buy 4 get 1 free right now for Earth Day. Our clearance selection has a bunch of great work on it, starting at like $10 or maybe even less. The local image pendant fundraiser, $5 from every local image pendant like Lake Superior, Minnesota, Split Rock Lighthouse. All those will donate $5 for each one sold this month to the Artist Relief Fund in Minnesota. And then we have our Design Your Own Pendant program going on. So if you've got an idea for a custom pendant that you want to see us make live on our stream, head over to our website, lakesuperiorartglass.com, fill out the form. And there you can find all the other info about our swag, about classes. We have opened up our class schedule starting, I think, towards the end of May, definitely June, in the hopes that we'll be able to open. If you do sign up for a class then that we can't fulfill, if we do have to stay closed longer, we'll just work with you to reschedule it. So if you're thinking about classes and itching to get in here, our summer class schedule is live, so you can go and sign up for those right now. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment, share. We appreciate all the interactions and really want to get our YouTube page to get a lot of views and start sharing what we do here with folks all over the world. So thank you guys again so much for all the support, all the online orders. As always, don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions or custom design ideas. It doesn't have to be just about pendants. So yeah, don't hesitate to reach out. We appreciate all you guys, and hope everyone's staying healthy. So I'll see you on Monday. I'm sure we'll have some more content over the weekend, but I will see you guys live again 10 a.m. Monday morning. Take care. Have a great weekend.